Tonight on Top Gear, we compare a Bumblebee to an Impala. We discuss the absolute state of Mercedes. And Stig starts a lottery to save our show. Hello, and welcome to Top Gear. Tonight on the show, we're trying to save our contracts. You see, the British Broadcasting Company has cut us off, and if we can't make a profit for them, they're going to fire us. So, Stig has started a lottery to try and make up some of that money. But before we do that, we have to determine which car we're going to be rolling the lottery balls in. So, we got one here, one here. This is what we'll be testing. So, we have a sedan versus a hatchback. On my left, we have the Chevy Impala, and on the right, we have the Ford Focus ST. We'll be comparing which one is ultimately better to live with, and which one is ultimately better to start a lottery in. Now, given that outside it currently looks like a country, where the cops ride around on horses, and they have a collective testosterone count of 2, of course I'm referring to Canada, I'm going to need a little bit of help to test these two machines. And with that, I will introduce my partner, my co-host, Nathaniel Wren. Now, Nathaniel, which of these two cars do you think is going to be the faster one?
I would think that the Ford Focus ST would be a lot faster than the Impala because it is made more to be a sports car than it is to be a practical family hatchback. But don't let that turn you away. It still could be a great family car. It's a little hard riding, but that's okay because it's a hardcore sports car. Power comes to you from a 4-cylinder, 2-liter EcoBoost engine which sends power to the front wheels.
As you can see, for practicality, does have room for some spare tires, and it does have a back. You can store something in this back, but it's not as deep, it's not as large as the Impala, so I personally think the Impala is going to win in this category, but other things can come around. Fairly comfortable back seat, decent enough room. Front, very nice, much nicer, almost race car seats. So yeah, there is definitely some positives and some negatives for the practicality of this car.
Alright, so the Impala is definitely a lot slower than the Focus because it is more of a practical car and it doesn't hug the corners like you would expect a car of this size to. It is very comfortable though in comparison to the Focus. The bumps are a lot smoother, and otherwise I'd say my preference is the Focus, but this is not a bad choice if you want a sedan. Power comes to you from a 2-liter 4-cylinder Ecotec engine. It is unturbocharged, which puts it at an immediate disadvantage from the Focus. And all that power is sent to the front wheels.
Now, to be as unbiased and transparent as possible, the Impala is my pick to win, but I'm going to treat it fairly. For practicality, I would definitely say that this has the Ford Focus beat. You can see it has a lot more room in the trunk, can hold a lot more stuff. You can hold those spare tires that you saw in the Ford, maybe even another one in this back of this car. Now, as we go around, I will say the seats are nowhere near as nice, not the front, not the back, but the back is way more spacious and you have a lot more room. Besides that, I want to talk about the suspension. Rides a lot smoother than the Ford. You'll probably see that in the camera shots because this doesn't bump around like you're in a roller coaster. But besides that, I think that the Impala has a good chance of winning. So we have examined the results, and now we are ready to tally up the points to see who won and who will be the car we are using in the lottery. So the first topic is fuel efficiency. The cars get a point for every mile per gallon they are above the 25 mile per gallon mark, which is the average. So for this, the Chevrolet gets +2, and the Ford gets -2. For cost, it is $30,000 is the average, so you get a point for every 1,000 you are below that. So the Ford gets +3, the Chevy gets -2. For practicality, the judges examined both of our arguments, and they have ruled in favor of the Chevy, who gets +1, and the Ford gets 0. So this leaves us tied up at 1 and 1 apiece. So we are going to, it's going to come down to speed, is going to be the deciding factor. So for speed, the Impala has 196. The Ford Focus is 250. So sadly tonight, the Ford Focus is our winner and will be the car we're using for the lottery. But before we get into that, we have to get into the news. Right, so the news. First thing we're going to be talking about is the death of the two cars that we just drove. The Ford Focus and the Chevy Impala are both discontinued now. Hopefully that's not foreshadowing something for our show. Nathaniel, you have anything to say about this?
Well, I always liked the Focus, so I don't know why they discontinue it. It seems quite popular, but I can understand why they get rid of the Impala.
Right, so the next topic we're going to be talking about...
I actually have some news for you.
Oh, what is that?
Mercedes.
Yeah, what about them?
The big company that makes V8, twin turbo, German muscle cars.
Yeah.
4 cylinders. They changed. They're getting rid of half the engine.
Wow. So now instead of having a badass muscle car, you're going to have a limp-wristed barista car. You have to have an arts degree just to buy one, you know.
Pretty much.
All right. So
it's quite ridiculous. I don't know why they would do such a thing.
Not any good news today, but except for the last one, we're going to talk about our lottery. So we have no budget left, and this lottery should hopefully help us make some of that money back. Now, how it's going to work, I can't really tell you because I know about as much math as Scott Steiner. So I had the team put together a graphic, as you can see here, that explains how the lottery works and the math for it.
Then I go.
All right, to give you a little bit more information about Stig's lottery to save Top Gear, tickets are $3 a piece, and there's 8 ways to win. There is Bottom Gear, which is $50, Mr. Slow, which is $600, Captain Lost, which is $4,000, Medium Gear, which is $15,000, Medium Gear 1, which is $51,000, Pagani Zonda, $99,000, Ford Mondeo, which is $250,000, and Top Gear, grand prize, $500,000. In case this fails, we've been in talks with Jeff Bezos. You might have to go check us out on Amazon Prime, the ad for it. But that's not going to happen because this lottery is going to be the most successful lottery you've ever seen. And with that, bring in the Stig.
Go.
All right, so here are 3 vessels. These hold all of our balls in them for the lottery. These are the balls we're going to draw from. They're numbered, and we're going to throw them in the back of the car and let Stig do his work. So there's 1. Here's 2. Here's 3. Let's go. And with that, that's our show. Hopefully, there'll be one next week. So if you don't want us to become the property of Jeff Bezos, buy a ticket. We'll be revealing the numbers next week. So, without further ado, that was Top Gear. Good night.